Thank you all. That was wonderful. Most of us know what it's like to try to do the right thing, but we go about it in a wrong way. Okay? I remember the first time I got a gym membership back in my 20s, and I was going to get buff, right? And so they asked if I wanted a personal trainer, and I was kind of cheap at that time, and still kind of cheap. So I said, I don't think so. I mean, in my head, I'm going, how hard can it be, right? Famous last words. How hard can it be? Yeah. So about 5 minutes into the third machine, this guy comes over to me and he goes, you new here, aren't you? What was your first clue? Can't be my buffness, right? He said, son, you're doing it wrong. You're doing this machine wrong. And if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to hurt yourself really bad. Okay. So it's like, okay, all right. I mean, I was trying to do the right thing, but I was going about it the wrong way. So we all had those kinds of experiences. You're planting stuff, right? And you plant something that needs more shade in the sun. Or you plant something in the sun that needs more shade. Or you give it more water and it needed less water. Or it needs this kind of soil, not that kind of soil, right? It drives you nuts, doesn't it? Okay. I like playing video games, and so sometimes you're just going crazy trying to figure out what's going on, and go that way, not this way. No wonder I can't get to the next level, right? Any sport you want to play, don't throw it that way, throw it this way. Don't swing this way, swing that way, right? Kick it this way, not that way. Stand this way, right? And I remember a number of years ago, I was playing golf, and my friend I was playing with said, hey, your problem is you got a two-part swing. And he kept trying to show me what he's talking about, and I'm going, two-part swing? I just didn't get it. And then got a video of me playing golf, and then he said, oh, two-part swing. Okay, yeah, I see what I'm doing now. See, it's not like, we intentionally get up and self-sabotage, right? I mean, how many of you wake up in the morning and you go, you know what? I really want to sabotage this day. I want to make it as hard and as complicated as possible. I would love it if I don't have any success today, right? I mean, come on. No, you don't do that. But we wake up not intending to do that. And sometimes this whole idea of just trying harder doesn't really work very well for us if we're doing it the wrong way. The whole righty-tighty, lefty-loosey when you're, working on something. Yeah, that's a pretty good thing to remember, unless it's got reverse threading on it, and then it's kind of like, we often look at the beginning of a new year, like today, for New Year's resolutions. You made any New Year's resolutions? That's hilarious. I don't think so. Yeah, I already know how that's going to work. Yeah, well, sometimes we make New Year's resolutions. Okay. And for those of us who have a sense that we want a better relationship with God, we make some spiritual resolutions. We're going to do some things a little bit different. But one of the interesting things that happens is we make those resolutions, and we often find ourselves not very far into the year, and we're frustrated. We're disappointed, and we're even angry at the lack of positive results of all of the effort that we're going to. All right? I don't know if you've been there, but I got a lot of those T-shirts, okay? It's like, what's wrong? Why is this not working? I'm trying really, really hard. Well, here's the thing. Jesus said, walk with me. He didn't say work with me and work for me. Okay? Jesus said, walk with me. He didn't say work for me. And so what happens is we get a mindset of all of this stuff we've got to do to be closer to God. And activity doesn't draw me closer to God. In fact, the activity itself, just for the activity, has the actual opposite results. It doesn't do for me what I was hoping. And rather than enjoying a personal relationship with Jesus, I'm just overwhelmed. I'm frustrated, and I don't like it a whole lot. In fact, I'm really just disappointed. See, the more we do, the less satisfaction and fulfillment we experience as a result of that. I was thinking about this a few months ago, and I sat down and I wrote a document that I call Confessions of a Spiritual Workaholic. Okay. If you'd like a copy of this later, it's on my website at lamance.com. But I was just trying to express kind of how this looks and how this works, because everyone, like I said, I wrote it out of a lot of experience. Everyone that's trying to be more religious, if you will, to get closer to God, eventually has a prayer something like this. So I'm going to read what I wrote. Lord, I don't understand. I went to that additional Bible study and did the assignments. I faithfully attended worship. I read my Bible every day and had quiet times. Well, sometimes. I pray for the church and the pastors and the people. I make sure my kids are at church, and I volunteer once a month to help with Sunday morning children's program needs. I take notes on the sermons and try to do what the pastor says do. I even read ahead when I know where the sermon is going next week. I give money to the church. I take the leadership responsibilities and serve on church committees, facilitate a small group. I even sing in the choir. I went on that mission trip last year and plan to go again this year. I give money every month to the missionaries there. I give clothes to the clothes bank and food to the food bank. I support multiple charities and sponsor 2 international orphans every month. I took my unchurched neighbor to that grief group every Tuesday night for 3 months. Can't get them to attend church with me. I'll keep trying. I coach teams in our rec ministry. I've gone to camps for our kids and youth. I serve snacks at the summer program for special needs kids. I help greet people on Sundays. Every Wednesday night, I move between being at the youth midweek with my teen, choir rehearsal, and meeting with the counselor that's helping my youngest. In addition to all this, I've been asked to consider being on the finance committee, prayer ministry, hospitality team, and host a young adult group. I've also been asked to facilitate a recovery group since I've made some progress in overcoming my abuse and betrayal. Every week I hear of something else at the church that's a good thing, an important thing, a necessary thing that I should do or help with. Every ministry and mission endeavor we have here seems to be very important. My spouse and kids have needs. My extended family has a ton of issues. And then there's the stress at work. Like I said, Lord, I don't understand. I'm exhausted. I thought all that I'm doing for you would bring me the meaning, the purpose, the peace, and the joy that you talk about in your word. It has not. I'm confused, frustrated, and if I'm honest, angry. Yeah, I guess I really am angry. This feels like a massive waste of time with little personal benefit. When is pleasing you enough going to be enough? I'd like to take a year off. Just say no to everything and everyone, and hopefully get some rest and perspective. That's what I would like to do, but I know the feelings of guilt and shame would be more than I could bear. So I guess it's just suck it up, Buttercup. Stop whining, get busy. Man, heaven is going to be such a relief. Southwest Airlines commercial. Want to get away? Want to get away from working for Jesus and just learn how to walk with Jesus? I hope so. See, sometimes trying to do the right thing the wrong way is a lack of knowing. Hey kid, you new here? Sometimes it's just about revisiting the fundamentals, the things that I knew that I've forgotten. Oh, I get it, it's a two-part swing. And then other times, it's just about doing what you know is the right thing to do and doing it in the right way. Okay? So no matter where you are in the process, a few suggestions for those of you that would like to actually have a walk with Jesus in 2023, all right? So here's the first thing I'd say. You must have a relational mindset, not a religious mindset. Okay? Relational mindset, not a religious mindset. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's like the difference between working a job that's just a job that you're working just to earn money. That's the only reason you're doing it. It's not because you like it or love it. Versus doing life together with a best friend, something you would want to do. I want you to think of the contrast there. See, I've worked a lot of jobs in my day that were just jobs, and I did it just for the money. Most of you have done the same thing, all right? I grew up working at my dad's service stations, and for you kids that don't know what those are, watch an old movie, all right? You know, that's where the guy runs out and wiping down the windshield and pumping the gas and checking the tires and checking the oil and all that stuff, all right? I did that. Wash the cars, change the oil, all that stuff, okay? And it's amazing, those of you that work on cars a lot, you know, it doesn't matter what you try to get all that off your hands with. It just doesn't come off, right? It's just there. And you just kind of walk around and go, yeah, no, I kind of need to go get a pedicure maybe, but I don't think so, right? So I've done that. I was a custodian at a student center on a college campus. Some of you students are animals. I mean, yuck. Even still, after having, it was a long time ago, I'll walk into a place and I'm going, do they live like this at home? The answer is yes. Anyway, so I did that. I've worked freight docks, loading boxes, unloading boxes, but my least favorite of all, job that I did just for money, and that's the only reason I did it, was flat top roofing one summer. Yeah, that's the hot tar. And when I signed up to do it, I thought, okay, I'll be able to take my shirt off and be in shorts and get this really great tan this summer. You better be clothed head to toe. The one time I took my shirt off, I'm putting the tar pieces in the tar pit where it's bubbling, and a big blob comes up and bam, right there on my shoulder, going, ah, you know. I love getting a phone call at 5 a.m. that says, you're not going to be needed at work today. Yes, there is a God. Okay. So, most of us have done jobs that were just jobs, and we're doing it just for money, not because we like it or love it or want to do it for very long. And doing life with a best friend, way different, isn't it? You're hanging out, you're doing stuff, you're enjoying being with each other. That's the difference between a religious mindset and a relational mindset. A religious mindset is doing stuff for God because I'm trying to earn His favor. By the way, you can never do that. That's religion, not relationship. Relationship with Jesus is a totally different thing. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to be busy. Of course you're going to be busy. All right? Of course there's going to be a lot of activity, but it is very, very different. In relationships that matter, there is sacrifice. It's not just all fun and easy stuff, right? Those of you that have been married longer than 2 minutes, okay? Those of you who are parents, okay? Yeah, there's a lot that goes into loving relationships. There's a lot of cost factor there, but the reason you're doing it is very, very different. Because I love my wife, I make a lot of choices and decisions. Because I love my kids and my grandkids, I make a lot of choices and decisions. That's very different. Okay? Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say? So the religious mindset is about working for God. That's not the way it's supposed to be at all. In fact, we have the privilege of a personal relationship with the Creator God of the universe. Now think about that for just a second. The Creator God of the universe invites you and I to have a relationship with Him. That ought to blow your mind. What? He invites us to do life together with Him. See, you can do life with Him or without Him. Doing life without Him, bad idea. He didn't promise that if you do life with Him, everything's going to be easy peasy. In fact, He says it's going to be quite the challenge, young man. There's going to be a lot of challenges in your life. You can either do that with me or without me. I recommend you do that with me. And oh, by the way, if you do life with me, I'm going to show you some stuff, and you're going to experience some stuff that could never, ever happen unless you're doing it with me. Isn't possible. Hosea 6:6. God says, I don't want your sacrifices, I want your love. I don't want your offerings, I want you to know me. What? Know Him? Love Him? What? How does that work? See, growing up, because I grew up in a semi-Christian home, prayer in my head was kind of this occasional thing and random thing that you did. It was something that I'd hear people do anytime I went to church. You know, you hear somebody's praying, or you're having a meeting, some kind of gathering or whatever. Somebody's got to pray to open it, somebody's got to pray to close it, and all that. You know, that's kind of how I saw it. And and in some people's houses, some of my friends, not our house, they'd pray for the meal, which didn't make any sense to me because we got it right there, and bedtime and all that. So I didn't get it. Didn't make sense to me. So my mindset was prayer was kind of a front end wish list. Hey God, here's what I'd love for you to do for me. And I was always ticked off if you didn't do it, right? Or as a back end Hail Mary if all else fails. That was kind of how I understood it. Well, that's not what it's supposed to be like at all. Jeremiah 33:3. God says this, call to me, and I will answer you, and will tell you great and hidden things that you have not known. Call to me, talk with me, and I will talk with you. See, it's supposed to be a conversation. It's not me giving him my laundry list. Talk with me. Let me talk with you. Listen to me, because I want to show you amazing stuff that you can't know on your own. That's what he's saying there. So prayer is supposed to be a conversation with God, and I need to learn to listen. I had no idea how to listen. All I knew was to talk. And as a matter of fact, the more I listened to people pray, the more I got, right? Because I'd hear these eloquent prayers. And I'm going, don't ask me to pray. My mindset was religious, not relational. You with me? And it was incredibly freeing to know that he was not impressed with my verbiage. He just wanted us to talk. And not only that, but then it became apparent to me that really a better place to start was to listen to him first, let him start first, because he knows where we're going, rather than me starting first with where I think I want to go, right? So, revelatory stuff for me that has been a game changer in my life. Prayer's talking with God, not at him. We're having conversations. Somebody says, would you pray with me about X, Y, Z? Absolutely. What is it you're wanting God to do? All right, let's talk with the Lord. Lord, is this what you want to do here? Is this how do you want to do this? It's partnering with him. We're doing life together. Do I go this way or do I go that way? What does this look like? Now, I've got to tell you that in that liberty of conversation, there is so many times I'm going, I don't want to do that. I don't even like them. And you want me to do what? Well, this ain't going to be fun. I just want to go play. I don't want to listen to what you have to say. It's supposed to be that real. Do you have real conversations with the real people in your life? Do you ever say, yeah, I don't want to do that? Hello? Right? Of course. It's supposed to operate like that. It's a real, legitimate relationship. That's how it's supposed to work. See, I got to learn to listen better. So I found that when I'm praying, if I'll speak out loud, and interact and ask questions that helps me engage it as a conversation. And then reading the Bible out loud does the same thing. You see, this is not just a book. This is the written Word of God. And I need to talk with God about what I'm reading. Many of you know that it's not unusual, as I've shared this before. Last 22, 23 years of helping people, sometimes God brings someone to me to help that is so overwhelmed by spiritual evil and darkness that a spirit can hijack the vocal cords and temporarily talk to me out of the person, just like in the Bible, and that's happened a lot. And one time, I was talking with the person I was trying to help about a verse of Scripture, and I had the Bible in my hand, and this spirit came up and confronted me. And in that confrontation, that spirit looked at me and said, "You know that's just a book, don't you?" And I said, "That's just a book? Really? That's just a book?" Well, since it's just a book, then I'm sure me reading to you out of just a book won't bother you at all. So I started reading some select passages that I know spiritual evil doesn't like a whole lot. Well, for about 5 or 10 minutes, he's mocking me. "Oh, yeah, this is nothing. Who you think you are? Hello, this isn't working. Nah, 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 blah, 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 blah." Well, about 15 minutes in, he starts crashing. In about 20 minutes, he had all he could stand. He's out of here. This is not just a book. Our King speaks. He decrees. He says, "Live this way. Do it this way. Do it with me this way." So when you're reading, don't just read it as a book. Understand He is speaking with you. And so when I'm reading, I'm interactive. I do that out loud because it helps me. And it'll be, "You want me to do what?" I don't think so. Okay, that makes. You with me? You understand what I'm saying? Look at this very different. Don't take the Bible as just a book, please. Now, we want to help you this year here at Lake Church learn to listen better in prayer and as you're spending time in God's Word. And so, in the days ahead, it's already active, but go to the church website, lakechurchdfw.org. At the very top, one of the choices will be prayer. And when you click on that, you'll open up a prayer template that is first of many that we're going to do. You'll see some videos that you can watch. We want to help you get the idea that prayer is supposed to be a conversation with God, and spending time in His Word is part of that conversation. So utilize those resources in the days ahead. We'll be building on that, adding to that. You'll get more information as we move forward. Now, in addition to that, one of the things that if you've come to Lake Church very often, you've heard us say many times, and I want to repeat it because it is vital. We strongly recommend, as strong as we can recommend, right, that you find someone that will help you do life with Jesus, do life with God. And we strongly recommend that you find someone that you can help do life with God. All right? Now, we call that lots of things. People call it lots of things. Some people call it discipling, mentoring, training, coaching. I don't care what you call it. Be a Nike Christian, just do it. All right? Just do it. And people will say to me, well, where do you find somebody? Look around. Walk up to somebody and say, hey, could you help me do life with Jesus? If they say no, go find somebody else. All right? Who do you need to help? Look around. Hey, would you like some help doing life with Jesus? Yes, thank you very much. And people say to me all the time, says, well, I don't know enough. Really? Me neither. Well, I've screwed up a whole lot. Good. You're the person I want to talk to. I want to get wisdom as cheap as possible. All right? I mean, look at the disciples. Were these brilliant seminary professors? They were messed up people, just like us. All right? So, everyone needs to have someone that you're spending time with, doing life together with, that's helping you. And everyone needs to have someone that you're doing the same for. All right? So this year, purpose to have somebody helping you and purpose to help somebody. All right? Then the other thing that I suggest that you do is every day, when you get up, you personally purpose to do life with God today. Purpose to do life with God today. Now, I've got a great friend of mine who wasted many years in drugs and alcohol, and that consumed his life for a very long time. And he's been sober now for 1,308 days. We just talked yesterday. And one of the things that he tells folks that say to him, your whole life was drugs and alcohol. How do you stay sober? And he said, well, I didn't have any idea how to do it. So I decided that I just needed to be sober today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just be sober today. And then tomorrow I get up and I just be sober today. And that's how he's done 1,308 days. See, that's really a smart plan if you want to be sober from addictions and those kinds of things. It's also an incredibly smart plan if you want to learn how to walk with Jesus. I mess up a lot every day. I will not be sinless this side of heaven, but I wake up every day and I purpose to sin less, and I purpose to walk with Jesus, talk with Jesus, be with Jesus. It's a purpose decision you make every day. Stop being religious, be relational. Allow that to be interactive. Get to know Him, let Him get to know you. You looking for a way forward from where you're at? Jesus is the way maker. You need a miracle? He's a miracle worker. He keeps His promises to you. There's over 7,000 here. He's a promise keeper. You need some light in the darkness? He's the light in the darkness. Even when you don't feel it, you don't feel His presence. Even when it doesn't make sense to you, He's working. No one and nothing can satisfy your soul like Him. Now, spiritual evil is going to tell you that ain't true. I want to challenge you to let Jesus prove them wrong. Let Jesus prove them wrong. As a matter of fact, when I went all in with Jesus, that was part of what I asked Him. All right, prove to me you're who you are. You will do what you said you can do in my life, and I'm with you. Otherwise, I don't need this religious gig. As you read His Word and you talk with Him, learn to listen. Word of God speak. And as you do that, you're going to find an amazing thing happening. You're going to kind of run out of words as He's talking. And the funny thing is, it's okay. It's okay. Now I'm going to put a very familiar passage of Scripture on the screen in just a minute. And I'm going to read it. And then I want to invite you to ask the Lord to focus on one of the words or one of the phrases in that passage that He wants you to focus on this morning, right now. Just one. Just one. All right? And then what I want to invite you to do is to take the passage for the rest of the week and every day, read over it out loud, and ask the Lord, okay, what do you want me to focus on today here? And how do you want me to apply this today? All right? Not complicated. So, here's the passage. 1 Corinthians 13. So let me read it. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous, boastful, or proud, or rude. It does not demand its own way. It's not irritable. And it keeps no record of being wronged. Woof. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. All right. Now, as you look at that, just ask the Lord, all right, Lord, what word or phrase there do you want me to focus on right now? Now, Jesus, would you tell them how they need to apply that? Now you have a decision to make. Yes or no, will you do what he said? You see, when God speaks, I either choose to believe him or I choose not to. I either choose to do what he says or I do not. It's not about waiting until you feel like it or you understand it. He says, choose you this day who you will serve. Choose you this day. Will you believe me? Choose you this day. Will you trust me? Choose you this day. There is either choose or not choose. There is either do or not do. There is no try, Yoda. Okay. All right. I want to invite the worship team to come back. And we're going to end the time today with a prayer. See, we think way too small. We think so here and now. God desires to do exceedingly abundantly far beyond our highest hopes and our wildest imaginations. And he promises, if we will go all in with him, that he will bless us and our generations 1,000 generations. Does that blow your mind? See, should the Lord tarry in his return, what that means is hundreds of years from now, there will be men and women who can trace their spiritual freedom and heritage back to how you prayed for them today. That's crazy. Really? That's what he says. That's what he says. Eric and the pastoral staff, myself and the other pastors, want to pray a prayer of blessing over you and your families and our church as we begin the new year. And want to invite you to sing the song, The Blessing, with us in just a moment. And I want to invite you to sing it as a personal declaration to the Lord. You choose this day to do life with him. And you're asking his blessings over you and your family and this church and all of those that you disciple for 1,000 generations. Would you stand with me? Let me read this passage over you and over us.